Well, here it is, 12:15, October the 7th. Yeah, I guess it's October the 7th. And I'm doing a video. I don't know why in the world I think I have to pick midnight to do a video. For one thing, I've already had my 2-hour nap. I look like the Dickens, haven't combed my hair, so I decided I can do the video anyway. You don't have to watch me, you just listen to me. That way I don't have to worry about whether or not my hair is combed, whether I'm wearing makeup, and what kind of clothes I'm wearing. So before I get started with, I didn't really have anything I was going to talk about, but I'll tell you about it in a minute. Jan called me this morning. She said, would you like to go to an estate sale? Well, goodness, don't ever ask me that, because I'll be ready in 15 minutes and waiting outside the door. So we went, started raining. That didn't bother us any. We were in a pickup truck. And she knew always to take the pickup truck, because you never know when you might want to buy a little piece of furniture or something like that that you can't get in the car. So we had a fantastic day at the estate sale. Now, I only bought 2 or 3 items. I don't have room for more antiques and things. And I don't have any reason for buying them except that I just love antiques. So Jan did very well today, and I'm going to go ahead and tell you one of the things she found. You know how popular the American Girl dolls have been for the last few years. And in fact, they started when my 2 granddaughters were about 4 and 6 years old. And they each got a doll, Carson and Molly dolls, for Christmas. And I remember buying the little books that go along with each doll. In fact, the Molly doll, I copied one of the dresses that she was wearing. It was a little gray flannel dress, double-breasted. It had big mother of pearl button down on the front of the dress, and had a piqué collar and piqué cuffs. Really nice looking little dress. And I went out searching for the gray flannel fabric and the mother of pearl buttons. I like to never have found what I wanted, but I finally did, and I made the dress. And I made the Molly dress because my second grandchild is named Molly. Somewhere I've got a picture of it, and if I'd been thinking ahead of time, I could have shown you her sister. She has, her picture. She had long, dark hair, just like the Molly doll. But at this estate sale today, we went down in the basement looking, and first thing I saw these big boxes, and I lifted the lid to one of them, and oh my gosh, it was Carson. I think she was the first American Girl doll. I closed that box and looked at the next one, and I'm not sure which doll. She may have been Samantha, she may have been Molly, I don't know. And the third box I opened had little furniture in it. I'd never seen, you had to order all those things. You didn't go in a store and just see them. You had to order them, so you're not going to see too much of the American Girl materials that go with the dolls. Jan came to the basement and she started finding trunks. The dolls had trunks. The dolls had wardrobes of clothing. So many things. It was unbelievable. I thought it was like a dream world. It would have been a dream world for me if I was a little girl. And so Jan bought everything that they had in the American Girl at this estate sale. So one of the things I bought, and Jan just rolls her eyes at some of the things I buy, I'm going to show it to you, if I can. Oh, see if I can get back a little bit so you can see this. You see that? It's a framed picture of Queen Mary II. It's right at the bottom. There you go. Queen Mary II. Well, I've been on the Queen Mary II 3 times. I said, Jan, I have to have that picture. It doesn't go with anything in my house, but I had to have the picture. So I bought it and 2 or 3 other little items, and I wanted to show those to you. Well, I had my nap. I trying to think what I had for supper. Oh, I know. I'd taken a package of bacon. I said I had 3 packages of bacon in the freezer. What did I need with those? I never used bacon. So I got one of them out and I fried the whole package of bacon. And then I put it in baggie and put it in the freezer. That way I could just pop it out and all I had to do, stick it in the microwave and heat it up. Now I don't know why I'm telling you that, but anyway, came back, had my nap, 2-hour nap. Well, that meant I'm going to be up late tonight. So it's 12:25 now. Here I am doing a video, a no-nonsense video. But it's the best time for me. And what I like is if I can sit on my couch and talk to you. And my background, of course, is the ceiling. Makes a really good background, as you can see. And that dangly thing right up over my right shoulder, right there. Those are Christmas ornaments hanging down from a light that have been hanging there for 3 years. I just never get around to climbing up on a chair and taking them down after Christmas. For one thing, I don't need to be climbing on chairs. For another thing, I can't find anybody that'll climb on a chair and get it down for me. And for the third thing, it's pretty and I'm just going to leave it there. That's it. So, I got me something to drink, sat here on, and I thought, I read my messages. I had a few messages. They're always good messages. Everybody likes me. Yeah, I'm one of those likable people, you know. You believe in me, aren't you? I hope you are. Anyway, so I went on YouTube, see if there's anything new, and would you know, there was a series of Johnny Carson's show. Now, I've already got Francis the Talking Mule on my TV, but I turned the sound off. I didn't think I needed to listen to Francis talk while I'm watching YouTube. So, Johnny Carson I always liked to show anyway, that this series happened to be a whole group of shows that contained elderly people. They were all around 100 years old. One man was 97, one lady was 105. Let me see, they ranged from 97 to 105. And you know, I always thought those were the best shows that Johnny Carson had on in all those years. And the guests on the show were just delightful. If you ever watched Johnny Carson at night, you know exactly which shows I'm talking about. Now, these didn't have the ones that I was familiar with, except for the little 105-year-old lady. I had seen her before, but the others I had not seen, and they were just delightful guests. I remember watching his show every night, and when he would have a special elderly lady or gentleman on his show, I was just glued to the TV set because they were always so funny. They were among the best shows he ever had. There were the shows where the lady with the potato chip, the little old lady with the electric car, the Avon lady in North Dakota. I don't know how old. Her car must have been 40 years old, and it'd show her driving in the snow to make her deliveries and visits to her customers with her Avon products. There were the men who made jewelry. Oh my goodness. Cow chips. The man made necklaces and brooches and earrings out of cow chips. Then there was another one that made jewelry from bird droppings. Think about that. Now there's this some kind of glue, clear glue, you know, that you can mold, and that's what the bird droppings were in. It's in that little plastic mold and what have you. I don't have to describe it to you. You probably saw the show yourself. But I can remember thinking I'd give anything if I could be on the Johnny Carson show. Because if he was going to have these men with their bird-dropping jewelry, why couldn't he have me on his show because I made Kentucky horse biscuits? I'll give you time to think about that. What would a Kentucky horse biscuit look like? Now, I've got one in the closet in there, but I'm not going to go get it out. I used my horse biscuits, the real thing now. That's the one thing you got to keep in mind. These were not fake. They were real. And I turned them into desk pad with a ballpoint pen, had the horse biscuit, and a little brass plate that said horse biscuit on it. Well, the way that came about was after I left my job in Lexington, I decided to open up my own craft shop in my hometown. Couple from Lexington came to visit me once, and they wanted me to help them with a project. The Kentucky Horse Park was new, just being built, so there were a lot of things going on, and this couple wanted a little gimmick that could be sold to all of the people who visited the horse park. And they had in mind of creating a Kentucky horse biscuit on a little desk, walnut, very nice little walnut plaque, and a ballpoint pen. You know, people buy souvenirs all the time, all kinds of souvenirs. You never know what you're going to pick up. And they asked me if I would make them. I said, well, I've never done anything like this before. I don't know if I can do that or not. So I agreed to give it a try, and I went to Atlanta. They were having a big show, and I went by myself, went all through that big convention center full of every kind of craft and art product you could want. And what I was there to buy was glue, and I can't remember what else, whatever the products I needed to make horse biscuits. So I come home with gallons of glue because one of my customers, I told her what I was planning to do, but where could I get the material? You know what the material was. It was horse manure. Well, I don't know anything about horses. I've never been around horse barns and racetracks, except when I'd go to Keeneland once in a while and watch the races. But I didn't know anything about horse manure. Where was I going to get it? Well, one of my customers, she tells me, oh, you can get that at Barberville. They have these blue ribbon winners. They have them stationed in the stalls at Barberville. I didn't know they did anything like that. I mean, those stalls had prettier floors in them than my house did. That lets you know how those racehorses get treated. So she took me to Barberville. They said, oh, sure, you can help yourself. Take all the manure you want. Can you picture that? She was in her husband's pickup truck. We had big boxes, and that wet stuff smelled to high heaven. What was I going to do? I couldn't work with that. She gets the shovel, and she shovels it into those boxes, puts it in the back of her truck, and we head back to my house. And I take the boxes of manure, because they were strong, took them back behind my garage where they could dry out. Now, what you don't realize is when that manure has dried out, and they were, you know, horse droppings, when they dry out, they have no odor, none whatsoever. So I had my own method for reproducing the horse biscuits. And I had a nice laundry room, had these great big deep sinks like they used to have in old restaurants. So I had the perfect place to work with my horse biscuits. And I sold them to the horse park. I sold them to the Kentucky Training Center. I sold about 2 or 3 gross to the Cumberland Falls State Park gift shop. And my brother worked for the radio station. And every year they had a Lions Club auction. and people would donate things. So I handed him a couple of my walnut horse plaques with the ballpoint pen on it, little brass plaque that said Kentucky Horse Biscuit. Gee, it was a pretty nice product. So they sold them for me too. And at the auction, the bids started coming in for the horse biscuit, and they only had so much time for each item that they put up for bid. They had to cut the bids off because they kept coming. And I said, well, if I had known that it would draw so much attention, I'd have given you more of them to sell for this was to benefit the Lions Club, where they bought glasses for children. Well, my shop burned. When my shop burned, I was out of business. So I told the couple, I said, I'm not going to make any more horse biscuits. I just don't have the place to work, and I just don't have the desire to do it. So I quit doing it. And the whole time I used to say, if they can sell cow chips as jewelry, and they can sell bird droppings as jewelry, and get on the Johnny Carson show, why can't I get on the Johnny Carson show for selling my Kentucky Horse Biscuits? And all for years I used to dream of being on Johnny Carson show. In fact, I had actual dreams of being on his show. And those dreams were almost real. And I don't know why I kept having the dream that I was on Johnny Carson show. So tonight I have spent 2.5 hours watching these elderly men and women on Johnny Carson's show. And I do believe that those were the best shows he had. And if you go on YouTube now, you can find it. You can watch them. You can sit down with your sandwich, your cup of coffee, and I've got my Dr. Pepper right here that I'm going to take a drink of it right now. Yeah, Francis the Talking Mule's still on. I can't believe we watched that movie way back when. But I'm not watching it now. It's just on just for company. Now, I'm trying to think, is there anything I left out? Oh, yes, there is something I left out. Wait just a second. I'll be right back. Can you see it? This is a cake stand, the Jadeite cake stand. Now this is not the old Jadeite. This is what they call the new. And the new is not just in the last few years. It's been out, gosh, I don't know, probably came out in the late 80s. I'm not sure. I have to look that up. But anyway, it is the new product. Because I hate to see people buy something like this thinking they are getting the original product, because most of the time they're having to pay the price of the original, and they're not getting the original. So I had one of these before, and I loaned it to my granddaughter, and she's had it for the last 5 years. So when Jan found this, and can you believe, she bought it in a Goodwill store. I was so surprised, and I was so tickled to get the cake stand. But I thought I'd show that to you, some of you that may not be familiar with Jadeite. So what was my purpose in telling that? I think it was because I don't have anything else to talk about. I always get have to start belching when I'm on my show, and I don't know why that happens. But since you can't hear me, and my hair, look at my hair, oh gosh, didn't even comb it. This is what I look like after I've had my nap. I decided to do a little program. It's not much, but just to keep you up to date with what I'm doing. And I'm working on more stories that have to do with the nursing home. But since I've done this first one, I don't want to make the mistake of doing more videos regarding the nursing home and using the material I've already used in this first series, because I should have planned it out first before I started. But I hadn't planned to do more than one story about the nursing home until I got requests. And quite a few of you have requested more things that I recorded in my journal about the nursing home and my mother. She kept them entertained. I'll guarantee you that. There was no doubt about it. So, I'm going to make this a short video, and I'm looking around to see if there's anything else you need to see. But you know what? This serves... Oh, am I getting glare on it? I don't know what I'm getting. But you can see the bottom of where it says Queen Mary 2. And you see up there with that big old red smokestack? I remember standing up there, right in front of it, right at the top of that ship. My friend and I stood there. It was late in the afternoon, and most of the people were in the dining room dining, and so we were there alone at the top of Queen Mary 2. Wouldn't I love to be on the Queen Mary 2 today? Actually, I preferred the Queen Elizabeth 2. And it was a simple reason. The Queen Elizabeth II, all of their staff were British. There's nothing more interesting and entertaining to me than listening to the British people talk. It's so delightful. Just enjoy it so much. The Queen Mary 2 did not have the British staff. So I've just always enjoyed the way the British talk. Wish I could talk like they do. That have such a beautiful dialect. So anyway, here I've got a Cunard picture of the Queen Mary 2, something to always remind me about the 3 trips I made, or the 3 cruises I made on the Queen Mary 2. And when I'm gone, I expect my descendants to hold on to this because it's part of my memories. And that's what I bought at the estate sale today. I love estate sales because you have to make appointments. The ones Jan goes to, she makes appointments to go to the estate sale, which means you don't have a string of people coming in and out the door when you go there. You're the only ones there looking at the merchandise. And she did get some really nice things. But I want to remind you about the American Girl dolls. In a way, I wish she wouldn't be selling them because I never had anything like that when I was young. And there's so many items, the clothing, I don't know, they each had their own trunks, and those trunks are heavy, and they had to be very expensive. So she's being the little girl again, going through all of these things and getting them lined up and cleaned up and ready. And if you are collecting American Girl, or you have children or grandchildren that are collecting these things, if you can get to Feather Your Nest Antique Shop when Jan puts her merchandise out in her booth. She does not ship anything to people. It's more trouble than she can handle. But if you happen to be in Lexington, you can come to Feather Your Nest. You'll see all of the American Girl displays, and I can't wait to see it all lined out because I'm just going to be like another little girl. I want it for myself. So I thought I'd tell you that. Keep it in mind and be prepared whenever she displays the dolls. She only has 2 dolls, but she's got a lot of little furniture things and clothing and trunks, and I've never seen such a thing. We never had anything like that when we were children. We had baby dolls mostly, and a few little clothes, and the clothing was always made by Mama or Grandmama if you had extra clothing. So I'm going to get off. I'm still not sleepy yet. I might even watch a late movie. I'm watching, I can't even think of their name. Why can't I think of names of people that I know as well as I know my own name? So far, I haven't made the mistake of forgetting my own name. Not yet. And these guests that were on Johnny Carson tonight, their memories were as good as if they were 50 years old. They were so delightful. And I'm going to see if there are more of his shows on YouTube. Go on YouTube, look it up. I didn't look it up. It just popped up on my screen. I said, oh my gosh, this is for me. I've got to watch these shows. And it's as good as anything you can watch on television. Take care of yourselves. We got a little bit of rain today, but it wasn't enough to suit the farmers. Maybe we'll get more tomorrow. So I'll be talking to you later, and let me know what you think. You know I always want to know what you think. And don't pay any attention to how I look. That's the nice thing about my videos is you can listen and you don't have to look at me. Keep that in mind. I'm going to go get me something else to drink and sit back for another hour, and then I'm going to bed. You go to bed too. Good night.